I think there's a couple things. First of all, if I could give every one of you one thing, if I could inject one personality trait, Billie Jean, into every single person in this room, it'd be self-awareness. Because if you have self-awareness, you've got a prayer. Now, not everybody has it. So like the advice I'm about to give first is to the self-aware. To the self-aware in the room, you know what motivates you, right? Do other people motivate you? Does money motivate you? Does, the work-life balance? Like trying to really deeply get into what motivates you is important. But really what the big game is how do you get to the truth? The reason people don't do things is because of the truth. We trick the living shit out of ourselves. Like the human brain is gangster, right? Like it lets us do incredible things. You know how like when you got to college / a little bit older, do you know that real big shift we all went through between high school and then let's say whether it was like between 16 and 23, like when you're 14 or 15, you can't take any jokes about you. You just don't have your self-esteem up enough, right? You're against it. And then somewhere by 22, you're making jokes about yourself and everything just got a lot better and easier. I, from the get, knew what I sucked at, knew what I was good at, and didn't care that I sucked at those things. I just went. And also knew what I tapped out at, right? The game plan was betting on my strengths, which is I can't build Facebook and Twitter. What I can do is build brands. So long term, I'm gonna launch a bubble gum or a sneaker brand. I will build something that I will sell for multi-billions of dollars and then have a chance to do it. I've known this forever, and I've been doing everything in my career towards it. But I'm learning what I'm learning, and I need to learn, and I'm meeting the right people along the way. The way to really do stuff is to do the stuff you actually like to do. And everybody's tricking you along the way, including yourself, of all the other things you need to do. When you become whole and confident enough, like this is just what I do, and this is the real brain, when you're okay with where it taps you out at, when you're like, cool, I'm only gonna make $300,000 a year, when you can get there, or 50, or 5 million, or whatever it may be, when you just can get cool with where you're at and what you're good at and what that leads itself to, you start saving a lot of time on other stuff, which allows you to play the game slightly different and opens up other opportunities that you would have never had. It's impossible for me to give you this, there's no tactic. This is not like do 10 sit-ups, right? You're asking me like, I know that I need to do sit-ups. How the hell do I get to do the sit-ups? The truth is, you don't do the sit-ups. You do something else. You run, right? You do push-ups. You do backflips in the pool. You do that you want to do. And like, I really believe in that tremendously. Like, I'm terrible at anything that I don't want to do. And so is everybody else. The number one reason I build massive scale is I have zero interest in convincing anyone. I've shut down 3 minutes into a business pitch. If someone's out, they're out. That energy for me to try to get them in is not interesting. I'm even more conscious that I don't want to be rude because I don't want to think anybody that I'm big timing you. I'll sit through the meeting, but my brain shut off 3 minutes in when I'm like, they're out. Because I have nothing in me. And not because I've been sick, even when I was a kid trying to sell wine, I'd rather take that energy and build leverage with someone else or do the thing that will make them in. Convincing is the worst game in the world, and it's the game the majority of people in business play. I've come to realize I actually suck crap at almost everything, right? That I was a DNF student. I'm a really poor student, which means I'm not organized and I don't like to do like the fine details, which matter, because execution matters, but I don't like that. Luckily for me, most people are good at that. It's actually a commodity, so I can surround myself with that all day long. Mariano Rivera is a baseball player. He just retired. He was the closer of the New York Yankees for 15, 20 years. The guy had one pitch. The guy basically, I mean, he had a couple, but he had one specific pitch that nobody figured out how to hit for 18 years, and he's gonna go down as one of the best pitchers of all time. I really think that that's what I'm about. There's only one thing I'm really good at, which is the understanding of the psychology of the end consumer of what they're gonna buy before they think they're gonna buy it. That's it, that's all I got. In 1996, without owning a computer, without being techie in my whole life, in 1996, I launched a .com website for my family's liquor store business called winelibrary.com. only because I believed, even though everybody told me in 1994 and 5 that they would never put their credit card into a computer, that nobody would ever buy wine on the internet, excuse me, on this information superhighway, because that's what we called it. Even that all that happened, I believed. Even though everybody said that YouTube was stupid and wasn't gonna mean anything, in 2006 when it came out, within months I started a wine show on YouTube called Wine Library TV, which started the process of me becoming internet famous. I believed YouTube was gonna really matter, that it wasn't just gonna be random videos of cats falling off trees or people putting Mentos in Pepsi and it exploding. I didn't think it was just gonna be 10-year-old kids watching it, and that's what played out. And in 2007, when everybody, even in the tech world, said Twitter was the dumbest shit ever, I didn't. And I put 10 hours a day into building a community there and established my presence there and leveraged that to a lot of the things that most of you even know me for. So what I spend a lot of time on is understanding what's about to happen based on what I believe, because I think that we trick ourselves in our own brains. We say we're not gonna do things that I know we're going to. The reality is, it's just all in your mind. This is a very interesting point of view that might really help. At the end of the day, the thing I think that makes me not scared is I know that all of them don't care. Let me explain what I mean by that. At the end of the day, everybody else is worried about their own life. So if you stumble, if you stink, yeah, they may leave a comment here and there, but deep down, they don't care. But knowing they don't care is actually liberating for you to do. You understand? No, it's not that serious to everybody else. Thus, it should be easy for you to do because their judgment shouldn't matter to you, because you have to realize it doesn't matter to them. It's a fixed mindset to get you to start. Once you start, you realize it's not that scary. People were scared to ride bikes. People were scared to swim. People were scared to kiss a boy and a girl. They were scared. Then they did it. They weren't scared. That's it. I don't take credit for anything I am. All my accolades, I'm like, my parents, my circumstance, ooh, Soviet Russia to America, ooh, the 80s, oh, Jersey. You get into all these circumstances, which helps them get the insight to create affirmation, to create lack of fear, to try something, to start the process, to get to a happier place. That is a fucking blessing. Now I want people to figure out that things are right for them based on their luck, circumstance. Yes, maybe they're not an entrepreneur because they don't have incredible lack of fear, but maybe that they are incredibly compassionate, unbelievably analytical, wonderfully funny. Like, let's lean into what we're fucking awesome about. Everybody's spending all their time on what they suck at. Themselves, they're doing that, and I promise you, everybody else is spending all their time telling you what you suck at. I'm spending all my time thinking about what I'm awesome at, and I'm spending all my time trying to figure out what everybody else is awesome at. The number one thing I would tell everybody to do is bet on your strengths, right? Like, I'm so fascinated by the amount of money made in America on teaching us to fix the things that we're not naturally good at, right? Whether it's weight loss, whether it's, it runs the gamut. The amount of money made in the world on trying to make you good at something you're naturally never, ever gonna be good at is pretty remarkable. I always get this feeling like everybody's trying to figure out like which WWF wrestling character should I be, right? And I get like completely, like I always want to take a step back, right? So everybody around me in the last 5 to 7 years, my handlers, my agents at CAA, my speaking, my all this, every one of them has asked me, stop talking, like this was the biggest conversation 3-4 years ago. Don't talk about wine and business and the Jets and cursing and all this. You're not a stand, like they asked me to narrow what I was, right? They're like, you can't talk about wine and business and the Jets and this, like you're confusing the market. I'm like, what are you talking about, right? Like there's this cookie cutter thought about branding that is so broken. What you want, my advice to you is to just be you.